combining sports, music, and passion. This is Fly Sports Talk with your host, Nelson Navarro.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fly Sports Talk. This is episode 3. I am your host, Nelson Navarro. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Now, I know there was no video last week. Last week, I recorded a little bit late, so it was taking me a little bit of time to edit the video, so I decided not to put out a video altogether. But I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that you guys are keeping up. Real quick, this is Fly Sports Talk, and we also, focus on fashion. So first off, I got my Hat Club SANDSTORM Arizona Diamondbacks pink bottom fitted on. I have my Polo Ralph Lauren Polo Bear. He's going skiing today. And on my feet, I have the Adidas Bad Bunny Campus, the last campus Adidas on. So that's the fit for today. Again, thank you guys for coming. Now, topic 1. There are 3 teams that have already clinched the NBA playoff berth, and they are seriously legit contenders. That last team being the Boston Celtics, clinching a playoff berth on Friday night after getting the win. The other 2 teams, the first team in the NBA to clinch was the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they're actually playing right now. They're up by 5 with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter against the Orlando Magic. They have been proving that they are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA all season. You know what I mean? With Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen setting the tone for that team. It's clear that they are definitely a contender in the East. But I honestly think that the Boston Celtics will give them a run for their money. And honestly, I don't know if the Cleveland Cavaliers can beat the Boston Celtics given the experience and, coming off a, NBA Finals championship last season. I don't know if the Cleveland Cavaliers can sustain a 7-game series with the Boston Celtics, even though the last time they played, the Celtics were up 25-3 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cavs seemed to figure it out, and they came back and beat Boston in that game. But it's all right. It's okay. Like I said, I'm sticking with my guns here. I'm going with my hot take. The Boston Celtics will be the team to come out of the East and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, pivoting to the West, I feel that the Oklahoma City Thunder will be the team to come out of the West this year, even though I know there's a lot of Nuggets fans and a lot of Lakers fans especially that will definitely disagree with me. But in a 7-game series, I don't know if either of those teams can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. If there is any team that can beat them, I would say, with the addition of Luka Doncic, it would be the Lakers, and how, LeBron is playing right now and just how that team is playing. Like I said in a couple episodes before, they need just at least one more big man to make a run. I feel like it'll definitely help them. It'll definitely help their bench. But we'll see. Like I said, I think this year in the finals is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics. But again, we still have a lot of the season left to go. I think it's about maybe like 14, 15, 16 games left. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Also, like when it comes to NBA awards, and we're going to go back to the Celtics real quick for a little bit. Peyton Pritchard made history last night, becoming the all-time leading 3-point field goals in NBA history off the bench as a 6th man. Now, let me tell you guys something else. I strongly believe that Peyton Pritchard is making his case for 6th man of the year this year. I don't think there's anybody that even comes close to doing what he's doing for their respective teams, like Peyton Pritchard is doing for the Celtics. as they make their run to another finals. But Peyton Pritchard is averaging 15 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, all while shooting 41.8% from the three-point line. Those are phenomenal stats as a sixth man, especially as a shooting 40% from three is definitely hard. That's definitely a great percentage as a 3-point shooter. But like I said, also Pritchard leads the odds in Vegas to become the sixth man of the year for all my bettors out there. So if you're thinking about, definitely taking Peyton Pritchard as the sixth man of the year award winner, that would definitely be a smart bet in my book, because I most likely am taking it. Also later today, the Suns and the Lakers play at 3:30. That's coming up in a few minutes, actually, probably in about a half hour. Other than that, we have the Bucks and the Thunder tonight in Milwaukee at 9 p.m. SGA goes up against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. As far as the Suns and the Lakers, I got the Lakers winning this afternoon against Phoenix. And tonight I have the Thunder winning against the Bucks in Milwaukee. Now we're going to talk about a little bit of college basketball real quick. Yesterday, St. John's and Rick Pitino clinched a Big East title for the first time in, I think, in about 30 years. That hasn't happened at St. John's. The year before, Rick Pitino basically turned the program around and actually got them to a winning record. I believe it was 20-14. At the end of this season, St. John's finished with a record of 30-4. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of background story here, for those who don't know, Rick Pitino is a legendary coach, going all the way back to his stint at Louisville. At Louisville, he was a national championship winning coach, but all of that was tarnished in 2017 of October when he was accused of allegations by the federal government for bribing and luring players or recruits to play at Louisville, which ultimately led to his firing at Louisville. He then became the coach at St. John's and completely turned that program around. It's a great story for St. John's. If they are able to make it to maybe at least like an Elite Eight, if they make it to an Elite Eight, I think that's a great turnaround for that program and for the future of that program. So shouts out to Rick Pitino. Shouts out to St. John's. They got the college basketball world buzzing right now, and rightfully so. They're playing great basketball, and I'm excited to see what they do in the NCAA tournament in a couple of weeks. Now, shifting over to hockey real quick, the Great Eight, or I should say Alex Ovechkin, is only 8 goals away from claiming his spot at the top of the all-time goal scorers list in the NHL. If he scores these last 8 goals with the last remaining games in the season, he will surpass Wayne Gretzky, arguably the all-time greatest hockey player ever in goals all time. Now, arguably, we all know that Alex Ovechkin is definitely getting into the Hall of Fame. That's without a doubt. Multiple Stanley Cup wins, multiple MVPs, multiple Stanley Cup playoff MVPs. Like, what else can we say about this man? He's done everything for the game, and he's given everything to the game. Excuse me. Last night, he scored again in a 5-1 win against the Sharks. And like I said before, he only needs 8 more goals to pass Gretzky. Ovi is a clear-cut Hall of Famer, and it's rightfully so saying that his team, the Washington Capitals, are definitely a Stanley Cup contender this season, and they are arguably the best team in the NHL, right? We all know that the Washington Capitals sit at the top. I think they're the team to beat in the East. I think they might even come out of the East. I don't know if there's any team that can compete with them. But like I said, it's a great thing to watch when we go back and we talk about Ovechkin, what he's done over the course of career. And this, if he breaks the record, it'll definitely be the cherry on top. You know what I mean? I think that him and Sidney Crosby, they were drafted a year apart. Ovechkin was drafted first, and then Crosby came in the year after. But what they have done for the game of hockey is just phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, going up against each other in the playoffs all those times in the East, it just brought a sense of competitiveness to the game to see those two go against each other all these years. But like I said, going back to Ovi, to Ovechkin, he's had a great career. I definitely believe, and I think he said this after this season, especially if he breaks the record, that he's going to retire after this year. Also, of course, right, if the Caps win at least one more Stanley Cup, that'll just be the icing. Also, that'll be the cherry on top of the icing if he breaks the record this year. So rightfully so, I wouldn't be upset if he were to retire after the season. He definitely deserves it. Shout out to Ovechkin. Shout out to the Capitals. But going to and coming back into New Jersey, after a loss last night, the Devils are only 1 point ahead of the Ottawa Senators in the wild card. Also, the Rangers are only 6 points behind the New Jersey Devils in the wild card race. The Devils are still in control of their own destiny, but going down the stretch, but they are going to need to play better defense. And Jacob Markstrom, please. Jacob Markstrom, I need you to be better. Like, I seriously need you to be better. Giving up 7 goals last night is unacceptable. Or yesterday afternoon, whatever you want to say. It's unacceptable. Completely and utterly unacceptable. I think he's 4-8 in his last 11 games. Don't quote me on that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get the actual stats. But Ovi has to be, not Ovi. Sorry. Markstrom, you has to be better. He has to be better. I'm sorry. In his last 5 starts, since coming back from injury, he's 1-4. He's given up at least 4 goals a game, and his save percentage is a .828, which is terrible in hockey terms. That's very bad. That's not a good save percentage at all. Markstrom has to be better in net if we want this team to go at least a little bit farther in the playoffs. I'm not saying that this team is going to the Stanley Cup, because we all know this team is not going to the Stanley Cup. Yes, and I would love the Devils to prove me wrong on that statement, but again, they're not going to go anywhere. Let's at least make the playoffs, okay? Put up some fight in the playoffs, and if we get bumped out in the first round, that's fine. That's what I expect of them. But with the addition of Cody Glass, they're going to need him to keep producing like he's producing. Cody Glass has scored a goal in, I think, each game he's played so far as a New Jersey Devil. And Jesper Bratt. Let me just shine some light on Jesper Bratt, because Jesper Bratt has been going crazy lately. He's been producing. He's had at least 3 points a game. He's had 3 points in the last 2 games. He's just going off, and he's pretty much the center of our offense since Jack Hughes has gone down. So we're gonna need those 2 players and a couple other more players to step up and produce and do what they got to do if this team wants to at least make it to the second round of the playoffs. Again, I don't think they're going to make it to the second round, but we'll see what's going to happen, what's going to go on. The Devils do not play again until Tuesday, I believe. So they have some time. They have 2 days to rest. I believe they're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets, which is a huge game on Tuesday. When it comes to the wild card race, the Blue Jackets are another team that are on the Devils' heels, and they need to seriously. I'm sorry, Monday is tomorrow, not Tuesday. It's tomorrow. The Blue Jackets are another team that are on the Devils' heels, only 8 points behind. So the Devils definitely need to get another win against the Blue Jackets tomorrow night if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive and be actual one of the top 3 seeds and not a wild card when it comes to the playoffs. But we'll see, man. So now let's go to the Western Conference a little bit, because I feel like I haven't talked about the Western Conference at all. So what is going on with the Oilers? The Oilers are also in control of their own destiny going down the stretch, but after going 3-3 in their last 6, the Minnesota Wild are only 1 point behind them, holding the first wild card spot. As far as the Minnesota Wild are concerned. So later on today, the Oilers will go up against the Rangers at the Garden, with huge playoff implications for both teams, honestly. So we that will be a great game later on today at the Garden. But again, the Oilers are another team that are in control of their own destiny. They need to, figure it out and get it going. To have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team and not being able to sustain wins going down the stretch is very alarming. Yes, let's say we know that they're battling injuries as well. I believe Evander Kane is done for the year. So they're going through a lot also as a team down the stretch, but every NHL team is. So you need your big guys to step up. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman. Those guys need to start doing what they do and looking like the Oilers that we saw last year. The cup contender, the guys that made it to the Stanley Cup. Even though they lost, they put up a good fight going down the stretch last year and throughout the playoffs. Because if you notice, last year, the Oilers, at the beginning of the year last year, the Oilers looked like they weren't even going to make the playoffs. And then, as the season went on, they got better and they got better. And then at the end of the year, they looked like obviously one of the top teams in the NHL, and they ultimately won the West, right? So, we know that the Oilers are capable of being one of the best teams in the NHL. It's just, like I said, they're battling a lot of stuff right now as far as injuries and things like that. But like I said earlier, there's huge matchups tonight in the NHL with the Rangers taking on the Oilers at the Garden, and the Utah Hockey Club taking on the Vancouver Canucks, with huge playoff implications up there in Vancouver. With the win tonight, Utah will move only 2 points behind the Canucks in the wild card standings. And I honestly hope that the Utah Hockey Club does win tonight, because who doesn't want a little drama going down the stretch when it comes to the wild card race? It's fun, it's exciting, it's great to watch, especially for us hockey fans and the guys and the people that actually sit there and watch and enjoy watching hockey. It's very exciting. It's great to sit there and see. But that matchup is tonight at 9 p.m. I believe that's going to be a good game. Those teams, in my eyes, are pretty much both evenly matched. Vancouver, they still have Brock Besser. They have Elias Pettersson. They still have Quinn Hughes and a couple other guys after losing JT Miller. But, we'll see what happens. Utah Hockey Club is another team that's fighting for a spot. They, after, making some moves at the trade deadline and earlier in the season trading for Capo Caco, they look like, they could make a run, but we'll see. They're going to need a lot internally. They got to play better defense, and they definitely need better goaltending on their side. But we'll see what happens with them going forward. Now, last night, Edgar Berlanga had a quick day at the office, knocking out Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz in the first round. Right? We all watched the fight. And it happened earlier for some reason than it was supposed to. I thought they were supposed to go fight at 10 o'clock. They actually fought at 8. I think it was like 8:15 or something like that. They actually went on. But Edgar Berlanga, like I said, he knocked Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz out in the first round. And Gonzalez Ortiz, at 35 years old, he came in at 20-0. But he just looked like he was, out of shape. Like he didn't even look the same. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was me or what, but he didn't look like he was. He didn't look like he was at all a match for Edgar Berlanga at all, like at all. You know what I mean? It was something like, it was crazy though. Like he caught him with a left and he just went down. He gets back up. He avoids the 10 count, gets back up. Berlanga hits him with another combo and he drops, and that was it. So it wasn't even a challenge for Edgar Berlanga, and that's why the streets, he gets no respect for that fight in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to fight somebody who's 20-0 that nobody knows, who he hasn't fought anybody, pretty much as an amateur fighter, and it's another thing to fight somebody who's established. Going back to like same thing with Shakur Stevenson. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get respect for fighting somebody who was literally a journeyman electrician 3 days before the fight. Like, come on now. But we want to see Berlanga fight somebody that has, some substance, some respect under their belt. We want to see Berlanga fight somebody like Benavidez or Bivol after their fight that's coming up pretty soon. That's going to be announced pretty soon. But last night, Berlanga called out a few fighters. He called out Jaime Munguia, and he also called out Caleb Plant. And I believe Caleb Plant is going to be the next fight for Edgar Berlanga. That's something that has been brewing, and that's definitely something that has been brewing lately. They look like they are ready to take each other's heads off. Pause. And I honestly think that would be a good fight too, to see Edgar Berlanga versus Caleb Plant. But we'll see what happens. I don't know, man. It was the battle of the Boricuas last night, and it looked like Edgar Berlanga was the better one in my book. But we'll see. We'll see what is Edgar Berlanga's next fight. I honestly think it's gonna be Caleb Plant. Now, moving over. The Yankees have announced that Gerrit Cole will have season-ending Tommy John surgery. I just had to troll y'all a little bit. That's so funny. I know a lot of Yankee fans, being from this area, obviously. But yes, the Yankees have announced that Gerrit Cole will undergo Tommy John surgery. And his season is over. And honestly, I think it's only a matter of time before the Yankees announce that Giancarlo Stanton's season is almost over, or it will be over soon. He has soreness in both elbows, and it looks like he might need surgery as well. Which I don't understand, because I heard this during the course of the week also. He said that it was due to batting adjustments he made in the playoffs, and he tweaked his elbows. Now, if this is true or has any truth to it, why didn't anybody say anything during that time? Why didn't anybody, nobody thought it was a good idea to say something about that at that moment? To say, yo, hey, my elbows don't feel good. There's something wrong with my elbows. I made this adjustment to my batting, to my swing, and now I hurt my elbows, and I don't know what's going on. Like, trainers, hello, like, what is going on? What was going on in that locker room? Maybe he did say something, and because it was the World Series or whatever time it was in the playoffs, they didn't want to take him out because they needed him, which is understandable. But still, like, now you fast forward to this year, and you might not even have Giancarlo Stanton for the year, because now he might need surgery in both elbows. So, but going back to Gerrit Cole, it is over for him. He's out for the season. But with Gerrit Cole being out for the season, it looks like the Yankees are going to keep Marcus Stroman, which he has been pitching well during spring training this year. And at this point, it would be kind of stupid to get rid of him. Even though you guys felt like he was a cancer or a diva or whatever you want to call it. But let's call it spade a spade. The kid can pitch. All right? And right now you need him. So that's number one. Number two, former Met Cookie Carrasco has also shown some promise, making his case for the starting rotation, with two starters already being out from your rotation. So you guys still have some other alternatives, and you guys still have some options to go with. Like I said, I don't think it is a wise decision to get rid of Marcus Stroman, even if there is any suitors for him. I just don't think it's right, especially now. I just don't think it's the right idea or a smart idea at this point to trade Marcus Stroman. But let's talk about real quick the collection that the Dodgers dropped with the Dodgers and the Cubs dropped for this Tokyo series. So Takashi Murakami and MLB dropped a collab for the Tokyo series this year, and it is absolutely fire. Like, the lineup that they have, especially the jerseys. I know I saw a couple jerseys that had the names written in English on the back. I also saw jerseys that had the names written in Japanese on the back. Right, so we know that the Dodgers have Ohtani. And they have Yamamoto, and we also know that the Cubs have Imanaga, right, and Suzuki. But as far other than jerseys, they also have T-shirts, they have beanies, they have Scullies, they have long sleeve T-shirts, they have hoodies, and the lineup, like I said, the lineup is pretty fire. I'm not a Cubs fan. I'm not a Dodgers fan. Even though when the Cubs did make their World Series run back in the day when they had Chris Bryant and all those other guys, and I was definitely rooting for them. I definitely wanted them to win that World Series. But for Cubs fans and for Dodgers fans, for anybody listening out there, I highly recommend you get some of that gear. It looks pretty fire. It looks pretty cool. Like I said, later on today, the matchup between the Lakers and the Suns was about to tip off. Milwaukee and the Thunder. the Cleveland Cavaliers just lost to the Orlando Magic by 5, 108 to 103. And everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming. That has been my show. I highly appreciate for everybody watching, listening, tuning in. Thank you. Have a good night.